Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we make sense of those confusing corporate reports. Today, we're diving into Green Dot Corporation's latest annual filing. And let me tell you, this one's a roller coaster. We're talking about a company that's trying to be your one-stop shop for all things money, but are they succeeding? Well, let's find out, but first, remember to like and subscribe. Forget those boring table of contents, I'm your table of contents today. This report paints a picture of a company in transition, grappling with both promising growth areas and some serious headwinds. They are trying to be the ultimate money solution, but they have their challenges. We're going to see where they're strong and where they might be stumbling. First, we need to quickly mention forward-looking statements. This is Green Dot basically covering themselves saying, hey, we're making predictions, but things could change. So, take everything with a grain of salt, including this video. Green Dot, founded in 1999, is trying to be a major player in financial technology. They're a bank holding company, which means they own a bank and offer a bunch of financial services. Think checking accounts, prepaid cards, and ways to move money around. They have a whole portfolio of brands, the most notable being GoToBank. They're trying to compete with the big banks by offering things like mobile banking, early paycheck access, and even ways to build credit. Basically, they're trying to appeal to people who might be left out by traditional banks, people living paycheck to paycheck. So how do they make money? Mostly through fees. They get a cut of every purchase made with their cards, called interchange. They also charge fees for certain transactions and services. Finally, Green Dot Bank makes interest on the money sitting in their accounts. A big part of Green Dot's strategy is distribution. Their products are available at a massive network of over 90,000 retail locations. They have a network where you can deposit cash. That network is called the Green Dot Network. Green Dot is going after the employer space, offering things like pay cards and instant access to wages. Here's a big one, their tax division, Santa Barbara Tax Products Group. They handle about 14 million tax refunds every year. This is big for them, especially in the first half of the year. Walmart is a huge partner for Green Dot, but that's been declining. Walmart used to represent 21% of their revenue, but it's now down to 10%. Losing reliance on one big partner is good news. Now competition. Green Dot is up against a lot of players, big banks, other payment processors, and those trendy fintech startups. They compete on things like how many places you can find them, speed of innovation, system reliability, and of course, price. Here comes the regulatory stuff. This company is heavily regulated. They're overseen by the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and a bunch of state agencies. Basically, they have to follow a lot of rules to keep everyone's money safe and prevent shady stuff. Green Dot is a bank holding company, meaning they're registered with the Federal Reserve. Their bank, Green Dot Bank, is insured by the FDIC. Because they have banking licenses and provide financial services, the regulators keep a very close watch. Capital is king. Federal Reserve can step in if they are not capitalized well enough. They're always worried about the FDIC categories because if they fall below well-capitalized, regulators can step in. It's like a safety net, but also a threat. Green Dot needs to be a source of financial strength for their bank. If the bank struggles, Green Dot has to step in and help, even if it's not in the best interest of the company's shareholders. That's a serious responsibility. Green Dot is also trying to show that they care about more than just profits. They have a committee that oversees their environmental, social, and governance programs. People also care about the employees' well-being, and here are their stats on that. Green Dot has roughly 1,150 employees, with most in the US and some in China. They seem to be doing well at keeping them happy. Their employee turnover is less than 8%. Let's shift to risk factors. Green Dot admits they rely heavily on a few key partners, including Walmart and one big banking-as-a-service partner. If they lose those partners, it would be a major blow to their revenue. Their tax business is super seasonal. Most of the revenue comes in the first quarter. They depend on a relatively small number of tax preparation firms, and they don't always have long-term contracts with them. Competition is fierce. They're up against everyone from big banks to small fintech startups, all fighting for the same customers. Many of these competitors have bigger pockets and more brand recognition. Fraud is a constant threat. Criminals are always finding new ways to scam the system, and it's getting harder to keep up with their tactics. If Green Dot can't stop the fraud, it could damage their reputation and lead to regulatory trouble. Customer overdrafts are a problem. Even though they try to decline transactions that would overdraw an account, it still happens, and Green Dot is on the hook for those losses. Economic issues are always a big deal. Inflation, high unemployment, it all affects how people spend money. If things get tough, people might use their cards less and Green Dot's revenue could suffer. A data breach is a nightmare scenario. They're constantly fighting off hackers, and a successful attack could expose sensitive customer data, leading to lawsuits, fines, and a damaged reputation. Being a bank holding company comes with a ton of rules. If they mess up, they could face penalties, restrictions, and even be forced to raise more capital. They highlight that last summer they entered into a consent order. This came with a $44 million fee. Ouch. Green Dot dedicates a whole section to how they are addressing cybersecurity risks. Here they outline how they protect and manage themselves, including incident response plans. The higher-ups are also in charge of these risks and have to report to the board of directors. Here's some stock info. They have authorization to repurchase shares, but the amount available isn't a lot, only 4.5 million. Alright, let's talk numbers. The income statement is where it's at. Total operating revenues in 2024 increased to about $1.7 billion. Also mentioned here was that they had a net loss of about $26 million compared to a profit the year prior. Expenses are up too. Operating expenses increased to about $1.725 billion. Higher processing and employee costs, but they were able to save on marketing. That fine they had to pay certainly didn't help. Their bank is still in good standing with all the capital requirements. Purchase volume decreased 0.7%. Now that we've dug into the details, what's the overall story here? Green Dot is trying to navigate a tricky landscape. On one hand, they're seeing impressive growth in their B2B partnerships. The gross dollar volume increase is impressive. But they're also facing challenges in their core consumer business, losing customers and struggling to combat fraud. They're also having to spend a ton of money to stay compliant with regulations. Their relationship with Walmart, while still important, is shrinking, forcing them to find new ways to reach customers. It seems they're trying to wind down their Green Dot consumer legacy and put their efforts toward BaaS and GoToBank, but that shift has challenges. A risk to keep in mind is their regulatory burden. They need to maintain a lot of capital, and they have to be ready to support their bank if it runs into trouble. That limits their flexibility. On the accounting side, the auditors didn't find any red flags. Green Dot's board of directors seems to be on top of the game with the various cybersecurity protocols that are put in place. Ultimately, Green Dot is at a turning point. The future of the company is to be seen in the coming years. So there it is, Green Dot trying to become your one-stop shop for financial services while spending large to remain compliant, but they could also face economic headwinds. It's a mixed bag of potential and pitfalls. Thanks for watching. If you found this decoder helpful, please hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate finance. Until next time.